Exodus chapter 22, verse 28. You shall not revile God, nor curse a ruler of your people. Just by there's a beautiful waterfall there in the back. We just recorded a bit up the hill there in that direction. Um, okay. So reviling God, nor curse a ruler of your people. These two things are combined here into one because it's important. Our relationship to the state, in the sense, right? A leader. We're not speaking now of a religious leader. We're speaking of the ruler of the people. Now, for them, that would have been in lots of cases, like the high priest and stuff like that. But they're going to have a king, a prophet, right? Reviling, yes. I'm not going to go now into the detail about what if the government goes against the word of God, forbid you to meet together, things like that. Right? This is not now at the moment the discussion here. Again, remember that they are in a process of nation building in the desert, and they have a leader, Moses. We will see it over and over again. How are they going to revile him? How are they going to stand up against Moses? Why can't we be? Right? Why can't our clan be the most important? Why can't this? Why can't that? How many times, like, oh, why, Moses, did you bring us here to the desert to die? Right? How many times? Better if we were there in Egypt. Reviling. They were reviling. By reviling the leader, they were reviling God. Moses clearly stated that. Right? You're not speaking out against me and Aaron. You're speaking out ultimately against God. You sin not against a human. Yes, you do. But ultimately, his image of God, sin against him. So that is why the ruler part here is thrown in, because it is a very important thing, and they have been breaking this the whole time. There's no point in a sense keeping the others. If you are going to revile the one that God put in command of you to bring these things to you, what's the point if you're going to revile Moses? Then you're going to revile these laws that God gave through Moses to you, and you're not going to follow them. Then it's kind of a waste of time. It's like me just standing here and just speaking, and you're like, no one ever listens to it. It's kind of a waste of time, right? Or people just nah, kind of, right? Not negative per se, but blasé about it, just plain not really care about it at all. They hear it, but it never changes anything. They don't even start thinking of maybe I need to change anything like that. And it's kind of a waste of time. So this idea of this reviling of God, if you're not uh, uh, ultimately, if you're going to curse the ruler of your people, then you are reviling God. Now, this is not just about all these other things. So God gives the law through Moses. So if you're going to curse Moses now and not follow this, then you're not following not Moses' law, but God's law. So you're reviling God. This is why this is put in here. Verse 29, you shall not delay to offer from the fullness of your harvest and from the outflow of your presses. The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall be with its mother, and the 8th day you shall give it to me. Right? So the delaying to give to God what belongs to God. Everything we have belongs to God. The fact that I'm standing on this mountain here today, firstly, this mountain was created by God, so it belongs to God. The waterfall there, God gave. The clouds, the rain, God made it. That belongs to God. The clothes I have, I bought it with money that people gave to me. It belongs to God. My brain, God created. It belongs to God. Everything we have ultimately belongs to God. The fact that I can be here, God provided I can be here. It belongs to God. And so therefore, when it's the fullness of your harvest, you must not delay to offer from it. Because you need to be reminded that this belongs to God. This is not because you are healthy and you worked hard and therefore it belongs to you. It does not belong to you. It doesn't belong to the state. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to God. It belongs to God. So therefore, again, I've said this a number of times, it ought not to be, oh man, I'm sacrificing. Why would he call it a sacrifice? If I give my life, why would I call I'm sacrificing my life? I'm not really sacrificing my life because it belongs to God. All I'm doing is I'm giving it back to whom it belongs. Is that a sacrifice? I don't know. It's just it belongs to him. So I'm just giving it to him. Right? And the same with the outflow of the presses, wine, right? It give to God. And the sons, your firstborn sons, they belong to God. And all of your children belong to God. But the firstborn you give, I mean, understand you're not going to throw it from a cliff or anything like that. That is not why. Um, they ought to be the leader in the house, the firstborn. He's going to be the leader of the next generation, and then the next generation. And they ought to, sorry, son, they ought to lead the next generation in the word of God, in worship to God. So therefore he belongs to God because he needs to lead. It doesn't mean he needs to be a pastor or whatever, right? But he needs to lead his family in worship to God, his whole, because he is the next one after when the father dies. He is the one to take over, and therefore he needs to lead. This is as well what is going on here. Verse 30 is then the same that you need to do with the oxen and the sheep, because they ultimately belongs. All of that again belongs to God. So you need to, but now understandably with the oxen and sheep, it's a bit different, right? Because they're going to be given to the later on the Levites or whoever as food. So they're going to be eaten, right? You're not going to give your sons to be only the Levites served, not others. Right. And just one thing that said is here is that it needs to 7 days with each mother, so they can drink, as they can build the strength ultimately before it is then taken away from the mother on the 8th day. And this as well points the same thing to the idea of the circumcision. It happens on the 8th day when that part is cut off. So the animal is cut off from its mother on the 8th day, given away, right? 7 days, the 8th day given away. Same with the circumcision. So this animal giving away in the 8th day ultimately points as well towards the circumcision. Verse 31, you shall be consecrated to me, therefore you shall not eat any flesh that's torn by beasts in the field, you shall throw it to the dogs. Okay, consecrated to God. Yes, they all were supposed to be consecrated to God, belong to God, and to God alone. And here they just bring this, and because of this, they need to be different. Now, most likely, again, this thorning of the flesh would have had as well a different, extra natural or in other religion understanding. Okay, and so yes, I mean, I know that Seventh Adventist makes a lot of this as like God knew, right? So that the flesh thorn, you don't know how long it was there. And yes, I think for hygienic reasons as well, there can be, but the focus per se is not always on because God knew, no, don't eat pork because we don't have refrigerators, you can't keep pork and it's going to go bad, and therefore, no, it's nothing with that. That is to do with the fact that how a pork ultimately is and is seen as an unclean animal because it's not the perfect animal, what is perfect in God. So it's this animal created by God, but which then shows, deflects or reflects the unholiness. So it's not, the focus is, unlike what Seventh Adventists will tell you, it's not about the fact that they didn't have refrigerators, so the meat will go bad and people will. I was told that chicken goes bad a lot faster. At least as I grew up, right? And so this is not, the focus is not on that. So again, the focus here is not so much on the eating of the flesh that's torn by the beast in the field. So because you don't know how long that animal was there, it can be stinking. You eat it, you get food poison, you die, right? Which animal or how did it die? Okay, but this is clearly an animal torn by beasts in the field. So this is not because of some other sickness, but you don't know when it was. But I mean, like really, it's like if the blood is still hot, then no, this beast was torn by this animal not that long ago, so it ought to still be fine to eat. So the focus is not on the hygienic aspects of it. The focus is on I mean, throw it to the dogs. The dog's going to eat and not die, and the meat is still good. So the focus is on how it would have been used by other people as a way to worship their gods or whatever, right? These people, the Jews, they had to be different in not doing it this way, in doing it the way others would do it. That is the focus. They are a holy people, set apart. Other people do it like this, but you're not going to do this. Not for hygienic reasons, but because for holiness, ultimately reasons to be set apart, not to be like others, not use it in the worship ceremonies or the rituals. So then, don't eat this, throw it to the dogs.